do that, you know, do it with complete conviction and go for it. I, on the other hand, have to confess that most of the time I fall into everything by kind of like, whoops, here I am, you know. So, I went on and took this acting class, and I swear, we had to do a monologue, this Spoon River River anthology monologue, because that's how you start as an actor, right? You go do monologues, and then you critique each other, and you know, it's like, I was like so terrified. I waited until I was like the last person in the room, and I had to get up to do my monologue. And it was like, hi, my name is Joe, you know, and I died the most horrible death, because everybody died in these monologues. It's Spoon River anthology of death. So I think, okay, oh, my name is Joe, and I have died the most horrible death. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I'm starting to speak, and my right leg is going like this. I mean, it's like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I better put my weight on it. And I put my weight on it, and my left leg starts going like this. I'm like, oh my God, because I was terrified of being in front of people. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die. Put your legs separate. Okay, that's better. Oh no, they're both going, ah. And I kept going through my monologue, and I survived, you know, and that's the story of my terrible death. You know, and I survived. And I have no idea why I survived, but I survived, and people went, yay! And they said, you know, that was really good. What's interesting is that you're the only person that wasn't nervous. I'm like, what? I was terrified. I don't know if I was gonna live, I'm gonna die, you know. No, you were so calm. How did you do it? You know, and of course, what do you answer? Is that, oh, well, it's very easy. You just, you know. So anyway, I started going, okay, maybe I can do this, and I kept doing it and doing monologues and scenes, and then you start thinking you're pretty good, and I went and auditioned for the school play, which was Taming of the Shrew. No, it wasn't Taming of the Shrew. It was Midsummer Night's Dream, and I wanted to be Oberon, the king of the fairies, you know. There goes Titania sometime of the night, you know. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm perfect for this. And I went and I auditioned and watched everybody else audition, because that's the way college is. And I watched everybody audition, and I was the best. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was really good. I'm gonna get this part. And I went back, you know, I told Les, I said, Les, I think I'm gonna get this part. I was pretty good. And he goes, don't depend on that, because you might not. And I said, no, I got this one for sure, don't worry about it. I got this, because I was really good. I watched everybody else, and I had more confidence, I was very strong, my leg wasn't blah, 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 and I really got this. You know, and the next day the casting came out, and I went up thinking, okay, here we go, Oberon time. No, and I wasn't Oberon. I wasn't the king of the fairies. I wasn't a fairy. I wasn't a spear holder. I wasn't a wall. I wasn't a prop. I wasn't a leaf. Nothing, you know. And being denied that is what turned me on into going, okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get this. So I started, you know, studying acting and studying speech. I did speech classes, and we won first place in the state championships, then the national championships, and then I kept just doing it. And along came Berkeley Repertory Theater, a professional theater company, and they go, okay, here's the audition. Come in and audition. And of course, you just audition for the artistic director. And I went in and I did the monologue from Midsummer Night's Dream. And the guy was there too that had played Oberon in that. And I got the apprenticeship, and that started me going on professional acting. So I kind of backed into being an actor, and then doing 10 years of the theater, and then you know, doing corporate films and various things. You know, and I became a voiceover actor because I was doing a commercial, and one day, you know, the commercial that American Gothic painting where you stand there, and I'm doing that, and I did that, and the director said, well, that was nice. Okay, do you do voiceover? And I said, sure. What's that? You know, read the script, and I said, oh, Orchard Supply Hardware, the right item at the right price, right now. Great, that's fantastic, perfect. And I got paid for that, so that's how I became a voiceover actor. I'm really pretty simple in the end. You know, I can drive and pursue your ambitions. Oh look, there's money, you know. And it's also, you know, it's also this thing that I have so much fun doing work that, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's money or not. Somebody calls up and says, I want you to do that. Now you actually get an email or a text message. You know, are you free on Tuesday, and it's like, yahoo, yeah, I get to do it. You know, so I love work, and so I'm sitting there on the beach, and I get this phone call from a friend of mine. He goes, hey, there's this audition for a trade show. in Las Vegas, and I'm doing it, and you should go and crash the audition. And I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm a professional actor. I'm a professional. I never crash an audition. What's the address? And I have no idea why. I honestly have no idea why. I went to this audition late. I got off the beach, you know, I'm late. I walk in the door. The camera is walking out the door as I'm walking in the door with the producer and the camera guy. And I said, hi, do you mind if I audition for this? And I mean, literally, he looks at me like this, like, all right, come on in. We'll set the camera up. Look, you're an Italian plumber from Brooklyn, okay? So, you're gonna have these contacts glued to your face, and when you talk, that's gonna make these little roller balls in your helmet start moving. You know, so I'm thinking I've got a Martian helmet, you know, and you'll start moving, and that'll move these little roller balls, and the roller balls will convert through a supercomputer to this cartoon character, this guy named Mario, and when you say hello, he's gonna say hello, and you'll have a hidden camera and a hidden microphone, so you can see people and go, oh look, you know, you have red hair, I like red hair, you know, and so you're gonna talk to people all day, in all ages, so you make up a voice for this Italian plumber in Brooklyn, and make up a video game. And whenever you start talking, and whenever you stop talking, that's your audition. And I'm like, okay, Italian plumber in Brooklyn. I say, hey, how you doing? I'm under your sink. Don't bother me, all right? You know? Like, hey, I'm working here. Get out of my face here. You know, and I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm a big believer in not being too harsh, you know, and if there are kids going to be there all the time, I don't want to be like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, you know, like, whoa, you know. So I'm thinking, I'll do something a little bit nicer. And I was so lucky that I played in Gremio and Taming of the Shrew, a nice old Italian guy in a 1947 adaptation of Taming of the Shrew, where Petruchio is this GI going back to find a bride after World War II, an American GI. So, you know, and I'd be like, Signor Petruchio, how are you today? You know, and I'm thinking, well, that's kind of fun. I'll do a voice like that, and I'll make him younger, and I'll just talk about. I don't know anything about video games. I mean, I know nothing about video games except, you know, waka 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 waka, and then you know, and that's it. You know, I forgot. Remember the asteroids? Spinning around and the asteroids. So that's what I knew about video games. But I'm thinking, well, I'll just have fun. I just have a good time, and I'll just start talking, because if I left the beach, I'm gonna have fun. So, you know, I'm thinking about, well, I could just talk about this and that and the other, and all of a sudden I hear action, and I turn to the camera, and I promise you, I said, you know, in the voice that I used today, I said, hello, I'm Mario. Okie dokie, let's make a pizza pie together. You go get some sausage, I'm gonna get some spaghetti. We put a sausage and spaghetti in the pizza, and then I'm gonna chase you the pizza. If I catch you the pizza, you have to eat the pizza, then we gotta make another pizza so you can chase me with the pizza. And then we're gonna make lasagna. And if I make lasagna, and you gotta catch you lasagna, you gotta get lasagna. And you know, and I'm sitting going, well, this is fun. I wonder if he really meant keep talking, and when you run out of things to say, that's your audition. And so I'm kind of a brat, you know, and I'm thinking, all right, let's see how long I'll go before because he's gonna say stop, right? So I'm like, and then we'll find a kitchen sink, and we'll take it out, and we'll ride down the hill. And then we'll ride down the hill, we get to the bottom of the hill, we go into the river. And then we'll float down the river like a boat, you know. And I just kept going. And all of a sudden, I hear, cut, stop talking, please. There's no more tape. Thank you very much, we'll be in touch. Which to the actor, of course, is the kiss of death. That means, you know, there's the door, we'll see you later. And so I'm convinced, you know, okay, well, I didn't get that part, but that was a lot of fun. So I left and I went back to the beach to watch the sunset, and he gets on the phone and calls up Nintendo and says, I found our Mario, I got him. And mine was the only videotape that he sent up to Seattle and then to Japan, etc. And I haven't seen that videotape ever since then, but it apparently exists somewhere. And you know, it's kind of like, I think when you are in life, when you're your conviction is to have fun, when your conviction is to have joy, when you're, it's like, when that's your dedication, is your passion, your joy, your sense of fun, I think that you can't control life, but for sure, good things tend to happen that way. So that's how I became an actor, or became the voice of Mario. And interestingly, I think to me it's interesting, I hope it's interesting to you, I don't know. But the reason I chose that voice, and not hurting people, is because in my first acting class, there was a guy with a stutter, and it was a terrible stammer. And of course you're beginning actors, you all start talking to each other, you start knowing each other. And I asked him, I said, have you always had that stutter? And he said, no. When I was 21, I went to Las Vegas with my friends for my birthday, and we went to see a stand-up comedian, a very famous stand-up comedian, whose thing was to deride, that there was always negative humor. And he said somehow, then he found out from my friends, it was my birthday, so the spotlight came on, I had to stand up, and he comes over to the table and he starts, oh, you look at this ugly kid. Can you believe he's 21 years old? Boy, the abortion that lived, ladies and gentlemen, look at this, And he said I started getting more and more embarrassed, and I was so humiliated. Oh, look at his acne, that ugly, kid, and he's fat too. And he said, and the audience laughed more and more each time the comedy hit deeper to home. And he goes, and I just got more and more humiliated, and more people were laughing and laughing and laughing. And when it was the next morning when I woke up, I had a stutter, and it's like, that's so amazing to me that somebody's performance could have impact like that. So I always feel like in life, it's like you always have impact so much more than you ever have any idea that you have. Because you think, oh, I'm just doing this, what I'm doing, but it has this outward wave effect. So to me, it's like that was the answer to me is, comedy for me, I will never be hurtful with comedy. No joke that I say will ever be aimed at somebody else. It will always come, the wave will always come back. So that was why I chose that voice, and why I rambled on is because I'm a brat. But, but every other actor that did this audition would start, apparently I found this out 20 years later, it would start and say, hey, how you doing? My name is Mario. I'm a plumber from Brooklyn, and I'm having a great time. And hey, something like that. And the producer would go, that's it, yeah, thank you, next. Because he had said, start talking, and when you run out of things to say, that's your audition, And that's what they had done when they said, am I doing the right thing? Is they stepped out of the character, which meant they were out of things to say. And this guy was very little. I just happened to be lucky that I was a brat with the right guy, who's like, all right, go ahead, talking to you, you can't say anything more. And apparently the cameraman turned to him and said during the audition, he goes, do you think if we left and came back in like 15 minutes he'd still be talking? And he said, let's go. It was cocktail hour after all for these guys. So, so that's how I got that job. And I'll tell you, I had absolutely no idea whatsoever what that would lead to. I had no idea who Mario was. I'd never heard of Mario before. But I think the character, the harmless, sweet sort of character, the everyman who falls in love with a princess, is such a beautiful dynamic, and Mr. Miyamoto really liked that portrayal that I did. And whenever he would walk by at these shows, he'd be walking by with his entourage of people, and Mario, I would see him, all the people would just see the face of Mario, and I go, Papa! So he'd go, son, hello, and we'd take pictures with you, and then I met him one day, I'm standing in the lobby of the hotel, kind of like, I'm going to go to dinner here, but I don't know exactly, can't remember what I was going to do or who I was going to go with, and I look over and there he is, he's like, and we look at each other, like, oh, I know you, I know you. you? And so, I wanted to say, hi, how are you? I said, oh, very much. I mean, thank you very much for having, oh, thank you. And he's just like the nicest guy in the whole wide world. Who's this incredible human being who's created fun and joy and adventure for millions of people. It created this entire industry that was not really alive at the time, resuscitated, created side-scrolling, 3 dimensions. Every game that, ever is played is kind of like out of the, born of the ideas that he does. Such an incredible man, and yet so incredibly humble, sweet, and kind, and, I always aspire to be more like him. Because he's such a great guy, So my life after getting the voice of Mario has been, initially it was just like doing CES, and it was supposed to be like one time. And I tried to be as funny as I could so that they'd do it twice, and I was lucky enough that they did, and then they enjoyed that in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and so it's been going on for me for like 23, this is like 24th year of incredible joy. And I started just doing the real-time animation things, and then we started doing it at press events and things like that. And then one day, the phone rang and it said, Mr. Miyamoto would like to know if you would like to play Mario in a video game.
64.
Really? Yeah. Are you available next week? Yes, I am. Okay, we'll see you then. Maybe we'll get you a ticket and come up. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye. I was so happy. And that session was this miracle session where all the things that I'd done for 5 years, I got to put in the game. I got to go like, it's me, Mario, and here we go, stuff like that. And we came, the ideas were there. We get a script, and it's like, oh, the script is there, and what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, you have these ideas. If you put the controller down to let the player become aware that it's going to go into pause mode. And we were thinking about different ideas, maybe sleep. And well, what if he's sleeping? He goes, spaghetti. So oh, that's nice. And then when you see it come into the game, it was just such a joy. It was such a magical sort of session. And that one led to more games. And I love Mario Sunshine. And I'm so lucky because I get to work with these incredibly wonderful, creative people up at Nintendo. And then I also do PR and events like that, so I go around the world doing PR and some advertising. And then the most fun thing I do is getting to meet fans of Mario games, and so I was doing that with them, and now I'm kind of branching out into doing this at cons like this, and that to me is like the most fun is to meet people, and I have this mission now to meet all the Mario fans in the world. Because you guys are so great, and it's like, to me, what an honor and a joy to do what I love to do in life, and to know that it brings people joy. I mean, it's the greatest. So my wish for everybody, because I know there are a lot of people that are young that are starting their careers, and what are you supposed to do? Well, you have to have some sort of insurance policy, yes. I mean, you have to get a college degree if you can, or I'm sorry that in our world today you have to pay for it. It should be free, I think, but there it is. But have a backup plan for sure. But focus on doing what you love to do, and if your passion is designing things, be a designer. Don't let anybody say you can't do what you want to do, and keep doing it, and get out of your own way. Acting is very much, to me, if you want to study acting, you really study it. There's so much to study on the human being, on the way we act, and the way some people frown, and some people are very intellectual and lead with their forehead. Some people get the big jaw. You watch, as an actor, it's like watch cartoons, do everything you can. Watch people, watch people have a big jaw. My talk more like that, and you see that, you witness, and you're like, okay, let me try that. And you practice. Then you get to the actual audition of the job, and you let everything go, and you act like the dog chasing the ball on the street, you know, or at the beach. You know, it's like you throw this stick, he just goes and gets it and brings it back. And you throw it again, he goes, gets it, and brings it back. That's all they're focused on. They leave all their dog training behind, and they just do what is their instinct, and that's what you do as an actor. I think that's what you do in a career too. It's like you study and you develop your skills, and then you forget all about those, and you just do it. Because if you're trying to please the producer, if you're trying to please the director, if you're trying to figure out what is it that they want, that's the wrong question. Those are all the wrong questions that'll lead you down the wrong way. And you can sound absolutely perfect now, and I promise you, there have been auditions where I knew I was perfect for it, but I was trying to be perfect. And it's very interesting, the different dynamic, but it's becoming more and more comfortable in yourself. And at any age, you're not 100% comfortable in your own skin, but you become that, you know, by just doing it and enjoying your life and focusing on your joy and happiness and building your passions and building your dreams. And you know, I was at one point at a crossroads in my life, and I didn't know which way to go, I was taking a ceramics class, and this wonderful old woman, she was about 75 years old. A kind of a crone, you know. I explained to her all the woes and problems of being a 26-year-old, you know, and the world that I couldn't carry anymore. And she goes, well, you know, and I was saying, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. And she said, follow your heart. If you follow your heart, you can't go wrong. You know, and I'm like, follow your heart? What do you mean? You know, what does that mean? And for the last 30 years, I've been trying to find out what that means by just being true to myself, by following my heart, by whatever that means. Instead of trying to just do what brings me joy and do what I hope brings joy to other people. And so that's what I do. And thank you very much for playing my games. I definitely want to open it up to questions, so I don't want to if I could drone on forever. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? You can ask me any.